Hola, amigo. What's good? We're about to get nasty on probably the most popular, the fattest hip exercise on IG. So it's like we're going into 90-90 and y'all been seeing this day by day, right? Oh, son. So, that ain't easy at 200 pounds. Now you've been seeing this all day, every day, right? Boom. Watch me. But I'm gonna tell y'all, that exercise is a bunch of baloney. What we're mainly doing there is we're just passively moving from external to internal rotation and just kind of moving our torso along for the ride. Now, unless you're a grandma or you've literally never moved your hips a day in your life, I honestly can say that you're gonna go nowhere with that exercise. And I know, I'm not. Just hear me out. Because the problem is, you're not creating enough what's called intensity within that exercise in order to produce results. That's essentially like doing just regular air squats with no weight and expecting your squat to get stronger. That exercise, I'm hoping that people are doing it for the rotation aspect of the hip, which that's what the joint capsule is responsible of. The reason why that's important is because that's where all hip motion starts out. Oh my God, I'm going too deep already. I started mentioning nobody's gonna know what the hell's going on.
This is because in my last video, I discussed the importance of why restoring joint capsule function is the priority.
If you want to take my word for it, you can. But a better place to start, in my opinion, is what's called internal rotation. I mean, come on, man. Who's doing it like me, bro? Look at the before and after of the hip function. Nobody's talking about this, man. So my suggestion is, if you actually want to improve your hips long term, then I would highly recommend or invite you to do what I'm about to show you. Unless your goal is to squat like 3,000 pounds, then by all means, just do that, bro. But if you want longevity and solid hips, this is where I would start. But the reason why I recommend training a little bit mobility prior to squatting is that way we can ingrain our like nervous system and the biology, the body, into the new squat pattern, okay? Into like, so basically I'm opening up the hip doing this, and we're ingraining it later by doing the squats, by training it to tell our body like, hey, we need this access to this range now. Let's say we're going for an internal rotation stretch. All right, what I recommend is we're gonna bring a little stanky leg action. We're gonna bring that front leg in, okay, because we're not worried about the external rotation on that leg, we're worried about the internal on this one. And what we wanna do is we wanna make sure our hip and the pelvis doesn't move in or out, okay? We wanna lock it in, boom. Pelvis is now stationary and I'm going into the stretch. I'm twisting into it until I feel some deep bone on bone like stretch. It's not the most comfortable. It's not the most even relaxing. It's more of like a, oh, you know, one of those kind of stretches. We need to relax into the stretch, which I would recommend doing 90 seconds, ideally up to 2 minutes, okay? Because that's what's gonna bypass the stretch reflex barrier, basically help us get deeper into the stretch, okay? Because that stretch reflex barrier is meant to protect you, okay? Because the minute you start getting to those end ranges, okay, those GTOs and all that kind of crazy stuff, just start holding on for dear life. So we need to stretch, let our body know, hey, you know, we're chilling, we're good, okay? Once that 2 minutes is up, that's when you want to start applying isometric force into the ground. But
in case you're not aware, isometric force is force applied without movement.
But a lot of people have no clue how to apply it, okay? And there's a finesse, there's a squeeze play to do this stretch and to do the isometric properly that nobody discusses. I'm telling you, nobody, because I've seen it all at this point. Okay, most people, when they do an isometric in this position, they would just tell you just drive your foot or drive your whole leg into the ground, because with an isometric, there's no movement, but we're applying force in a way. But that is totally wrong, okay? You don't want to just drive your whole entire leg into the ground. That's not what rotation's all about. What rotation is about is, rotation would be kind of like screwing your foot under. It's this motion, okay? It's not a drive your entire leg down, okay? It's a swivel under, okay? Swivel under. Swivel under, okay? So imagine this is my foot, right? This hand, okay? This is my knee, right? It's going down, okay? So that's the motion. The hip stationary, but that foot is responsible to drive down, okay? Through the earth and on the other side of the planet. So that's where the force, that's how you want to generate the force when you're doing this isometric, okay? So we're doing the isometric, we're treating it like a gas pedal, okay? You don't want to accelerate to 90 degrees. You want to act like there's a cop behind you.
Unless you're part of the bad boy motorcycle club.
Okay, and you got to slowly accelerate up. So we're applying 10%, 20, 30%. And if your hips are really bad, I would just stay at a low intensity, especially if you're doing this before your training, okay? And just apply a light, long duration force into the ground, the way I told you to. Ideally for like 20 to 30 seconds, okay? And then once you're done with that, you want to relax, okay? And you want to go deeper into the stretch. So basically, opening up the range, training the new range. What did I just say? We opened up the range, and now we're training and strengthening the new range, okay? And ideally you would do like 2 sets of that. Obviously you do it on one leg and then the other. But right after that, you want to then to go back to the ancient Hebrew exercise that I started out with, this, boom. Instead of doing that passively, just kind of moving side to side, what you want to do is you want to just actually do an active car, okay? So bring the leg up, do some swivels, okay? Boom, heel to heel, keep that knee up, okay? And this is a hip car, right? So basically just kind of putting that new range into use, ingraining it into the body, okay? So go ahead, give that a try before your next leg day, all right? That way you can enforce that new range for eternity and beyond. So anyways, don't do drugs and give it some heart, baby.